The hate watch is on, Logan. I don't know about you, but I currently, as we record this, Texas is up 5-1 on Texas Tech in the championship series for the softball national champion, and I am not rooting for Texas because who would do that in their right mind? But would love to see Texas Tech lose after all of the shenanigans and just ignorance that has happened between them and their fans, and you know, a team of liars. There is definitely one, probably more, but definitely one. I guess technically they're all liars because they were all tampered with before the portal opened, but that's a conversation for a different day. So, but they are not in a good spot right now, and you love to see it. Hate that the Lady Vols are not there, but if they're not going to be there, would love to see Texas Tech lose. So, welcome to the Rocky Top Rundown. My name is Alec, and with me, hasn't spoken yet, as always, is Logan. Logan, how are we doing this evening?
Not too bad. Just trying to finish up another school year teaching PE. Got about 3.5 school days left. Just I don't know. This is the stinky time of year. If you're a sports fan, um, because everything's pretty much ending. I love Cardinal baseball, but this is the first year they've gone to a streaming service for all their
Right.
non-national games, so I don't really get to watch them. So it's just kind of like not a whole lot going on in the sports world from a watching standpoint. Maybe a portal watching, but not a sporting event watching. World Cup's coming up, I guess, so that'll be fun.
It will be. U.S. supposed to come out of their group. They're the favorites, so that's fun. Um, but they will figure out a way to crap the bed and barely get out of group stage. Probably get their rear ends handed to them in the elimination stage. But still, gonna
Yeah,
be fun. So, um, but yeah, Logan, it's a weird time. Pretty much all athletics are shut down, and at this point, it's just portal talk. Portal for baseball. I don't know if softball has opened up yet, but baseball has definitely already opened up, and Tennessee has seen a handful of guys go ahead and enter. The number, let me just do math real quick, and by do math, I mean change this to a numbered list. Ten players have already entered the portal off of this year's team, which that's just under a third. Aren't the rosters maxed at 32 or 33 or something like that?
34.
See, I was close.
34 is what I think it is.
But still, that's close to a third of your team has entered the portal. And so if you haven't kept up yet, very quickly, Ethan Moore, who Logan said he would love to see stay. I thought about editing you saying all the people you wanted to see stay and then cutting to a graphic of them, of the announcement of them heading to the portal with like just the ooh noise that's out there. But anyways, Ethan Moore, Ariel Antigua, Chris Newstrom, which that's probably the most obvious one. Braden Krenzel, one that kind of hurt to see go. Finley Bates, Hunter High, Evan Hawkins, Cash Williams, Jay Abernathy, and Hudson Chance. And so those guys have all entered the portal, and you've got your group of seniors and grad transfers that they'll head out, but some guys that maybe are testing the draft waters or just straight up going to the draft. We know Tegan Coons is going. Stone Lawless made a post that seemed like he was going to the draft. I didn't want to read too much into it, but Henry Ford would be another one I would anticipate. Manny Marin, that's a question mark based on what Ben McKee said. Then Garrett Wright, you don't know if he's going to the draft or coming back yet. Evan Blanco, I think, is too old to come back. And then Myatt, I could see being a draft risk. But that's kind of who all is. And obviously, there's names I didn't mention. If like I said, if they were a grad transfer or senior, that's an obvious. But Logan, as we're looking at before we get into who's returning and things like that, you know, there were some shocks, not shocks, but maybe some gut punches of, man, would have loved to see him stay for another year, see what he could do. I think you talked about Krenzel being that way. I felt that way about Ariel Antigua and Jay Abernathy, but it's just part of this new phase of college sports with transfer portal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you knew there was going to be turnover, especially, which is just kind of weird, right? Because this is a new thing for Tennessee baseball from the standpoint of like they've lost guys to the portal before, but it's always been guys that haven't contributed.
Right.
Well, this year, half the guys they've lost are guys that were major players from a plane that like Jay Abernathy played a role. Braden Krenzel was an arm out. Like these guys actually played a role, and I only think that they're going to lose like non-seniors, non-seniors that they'll lose to the draft. I think that number is only going to be at like 4. Because Arvidsson takes it as a year, Grimmer will go, Ford will go, and Tegan Coons will go. So that's 4, and then Marin is the only other one that would like you thought he was going to go, but maybe not.
Forgot about Grimmer. I didn't put him on the list, but yeah, he's definitely gone. Yeah. Who were the 4 you said again? 5.
So 5, probably Manny Marin, but I don't know. We'll see about that one. But then non-seniors who would go that are like going to go, or you would think would go, would be Grimmer, Ford, Coons, and who did I just say? Grimmer, Ford, Coons, Marin,
Lawless,
and no, Lawless won't go pro. No, I'd be shocked if Lawless went pro. I didn't say him, but yeah, that's the other one that I think that'll probably go pro.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna have some turnover, but this is what I was saying. So this is like uncharted territory a little bit because they've never really had like guys that have played roles into their roster as
right.
like somewhat main guys like transfer out, and so that'll be interesting to see. But you're also talking about how it's probably a good thing because like I know like Josh has been an integral part of building these teams the last 10 years or whatever, but like the 2 big guns were Tony and Frank.
Yeah.
So like Josh's job is to go get the guys that Tony and Frank want. So he was building Mike Wilson, who's awesome with VolQuest and On3. I think he said on a radio show this week, he's like, basically Josh Elander was racing with a car that was built by somebody else.
Right.
And so now he gets the opportunity to kind of build his own program, his own team, his own car.
Right.
So like I don't necessarily think all these transfers out is a bad thing. And you haven't lost anybody that was productive, like super productive for you this year.
Right. I mean, is it fair to say this in some ways feels a lot like maybe the basketball portal, where there are guys that you really were excited to see them take their next step, see what they could be after another year, maybe even have some emotional attachment to, well, not even that. You've got multiple year guys like Ariel Antigua. He's been in the program for 3 years. He was on. There was multiple guys that when the stories were posted about them entering the portal, it was posted with a picture of them holding the national championship trophy.
Yeah.
And so like that sucks, that you've got these guys that have been in the program for as long as they have been, and overnight they're gone and there's nothing that can be done about it. And it's interesting to see kind of that compare. That was my first thought as I started to see some of these names as they entered the portal. And then even, the Abernathy, Mike Wilson said it sounded similar to a Rick Barnes situation where he wanted a lot of money for not really producing much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's fully the same because baseball is outside of maybe Krenzel, and obviously he wasn't very good this year, so you're basing
Right.
it more off freshman year Krenzel. But like baseball, you didn't lose a single guy that was like productive, real like was like super productive or well, I don't want to say play, but I mean, or really like played a major role. Like in basketball, like Cade Phillips was productive when he
Yeah.
wasn't hurt. Like you knew what
Right.
you were getting, right? JP was super productive this year when he was healthy. So like it's a little different, but some of the other one, like the Amari Evans, the Clarence Masamba, the um uh Ethan Berg, guys like that. Yeah, that's very similar from a baseball. So there's definitely some similarities. But I don't know. It's exciting now. Of course, you don't know how similar. I'd rather be, I'd rather be less similar now and more similar with who they bring in.
Fair.
Like that's where I really hope it's very similar.
Yeah.
So, which will be interesting. They got a guy in. They got a guy visiting tomorrow from Sanford, outfielder. He's been to Mississippi State. I think he was at Ole Miss today. Is what VolQuest is reporting. So, um, that could be a big one. But
Yeah.
I'm very curious to who they bring in now. That's where I really would hope the basketball comparison really hits home is the roster they build, not who they
Right.
lost.
Well, and part of that is retention. And so, those there's a list of guys that have been confirmed as returning. And so start off with the big one, which I think we would agree. I think it was a 1A, 1B between these two, but you got Cam Appenzeller and Trent Grindley are coming back. Those were two that you couldn't afford to lose. Like Cam finally looked like he did in the first half of league play, and and then Grindlinger. I mean, that dude could have won awards if he had had more at bats. And
Yeah,
so it's great to have him back. And then four pitchers that honestly I thought were all pretty productive. You have three freshmen returning and Will Haas, Nick Abraham, and Chandler Day, which is fantastic because
yeah,
those are young arms, and retaining them, that there's something you can build there. And then the other pitcher that you kept was Landon Mack, which I think was a big get because you didn't get to see him down the stretch. They didn't have a third game in regionals for him to come back in. And I mean, Cam's going to be most likely be your Friday night starter, but knowing that you have Landon Mack as
I mean, you get the best
potentially
1-2 punch in the league, probably.
right, like you,
Is what you would think.
and then you've got guys that you can just start building around, or you've already got pieces to start building around with them, and so you got those, and then the only other one that has been at least rumored that he's coming back or is expected is Levi Clark, and that was another big get that you needed to keep, and it's one of those things where the seems like there's rumors that Manny Marin may be coming back based on, like I said, what Ben McKee said on a radio show. I don't remember which radio show it was. But then, Garrett Wright's one where I'm interested to see what his draft evaluation is and if it's something he likes or if he decides to come back and run it back one more time. I imagine it'll be high enough for him to go. Like we talked about last time, he gets on base too much. He's got a skill set to where he can play a couple different positions and he's good at both. Like I don't know which one I would say he was better at between catching and outfield because I mean the pickoffs at second, I think he threw out more guys than I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just going off of anecdotal, my memory, I think he threw out more guys at second than any other catcher on the team.
Well, they shot him at over 90 miles per hour throwing from home to second. That's
Holy
what they said on that
cow.
when he threw that guy out when he got that outfield assist in the regional last weekend. That's what the announcer said was that they clocked him at like 92 or something from throwing from home to second. So
Golly.
I mean the arm strength there. Yeah, I would be floored. I would be floored if he's back.
Yeah.
If he comes back, he loses all his leverage. He's athletic enough to play multiple spots, and he can catch, and he gets on base. He's not going to be a guy in the majors that's going to hit. He's not going to go hit 20 home runs.
Right.
He may not even be an everyday guy for you. He could be, maybe, in the
Right.
right situation, but he's a utility guy that you'd love to have on your bench because you can probably play him at both corner outfields
Right.
or you can at least play him in left field and center field, and you can play him at catcher.
Right.
So it's like you can just put him in so many places. Like somebody's going to take a flyer on him in like a fifth round or something like that, and then at that point, like as good as NIL is getting, baseball NIL
No.
is not what you're going to get into the draft, and it's also like it's not like football.
Right.
Like you've got 34 spots, you don't even all like you're not going to pay a dude 4 million. Probably not. You may not even pay dude a million. I don't really know what it is. You're definitely not playing 3 and 4 and $5 million to a baseball player. So
Right.
like I'd be floored if he came back, um but him going is definitely, I think, in the cards. Like I said, everybody talks about Grimmer's hit tool, so he'll be gone. Ford obviously is gone. But it'll be interesting to say, like you said, Levi Clark was a big well, what we think was a big keep.
Right. He's
Um,
expected back.
Blaine Brown's a big keep.
Has that been
Um,
announced
he's
yet?
he's expected back, is what
Okay.
Mike Wilson with On Three said.
Okay.
They expect him to be back. And so that's guys to build around right there. Blaine Brown, Levi Clark, Trent Grindlinger. Manny Maron's a TBD type thing, but
But those three you
we'll
just
see.
said, if those are your three big bats, you go. Honestly, if Blaine's at his best, you put him at the one in the one hole. But you go 1, 3, 4 with those, and then plug in guys around and things like that. That's a fantastic start to your lineup.
Yeah,
And you'd like to think that Grindlinger is only going to get better. That he's not going to regress in any way.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that'll be interesting to see too, right? Because I don't think they're going to want to just DH Grindlinger all next year.
no.
Like I think next year's his draft year, so he's going to have to catch some. So then, what's that look like? But Levi Clark is technically like a primary catcher. They just
Right.
put him at first. Like, does he want to catch some in his draft year?
Right.
So that's all going to be really interesting. Do they like? But Stone is a catcher, first base type guy. So,
Right.
like, what does that look like? So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what they do in the portal because now you think they've probably got to get middle infielders.
Yeah.
They're going to get a big bat in the outfield, and probably a big bat at third base. So
Right.
there's a lot of unknown right now because there's going to be enough turnover. Like you said, you're keeping your big pieces, your big 3 or 4 pieces that you want, but there's still going to be quite a bit of turnover. And so then it's like, what does that look like? Do you just go get bats and then figure out positions later?
Right.
Which is like what they did with like a Henry Ford because they brought Henry Ford in as a corner outfielder.
Right.
Um, so
And he was good at third for that
yeah,
not
yeah,
being
yeah,
his position he played his entire life.
yeah. So what do you do? What second base look like? Because you got to find a shortstop and a second baseman because you're losing possibly both shortstops. But like, what's second base look like? Like, I don't know that Tyler Myatt's ever going to cut it at this level.
Yeah.
Um,
As far as
he's,
batting or fielding.
well, both, I guess, maybe. But like, if you throw him a fastball, he'll mash it 600 feet. But
Right.
if you throw him anything with spin, it didn't look pretty. He's got a whole year to work on that, so that could
Correct. I
obviously
was about to
change.
say. I was about to say. I mean, what does
But
this offseason look like for this team?
yeah, but like I don't. His JUCO numbers are so good. It's not like a guy you push out the door.
Right.
I don't think. Of course, you don't know what they're playing for the roster is, but like if a guy can mash like that and he's a decent pitch hitter, which he kind of was at least in the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
it's like you don't necessarily push him out the door. But I don't know. This what the roster looks like will be a lot better after we kind of see what the portal looks like in a
Right.
month.
Yeah.
Um,
No. What have you seen or heard anything on Nate Eisfelder? He
I
got some recognition because of his how he played in place of uh,
Reese,
of Reese Chapman. That was
yeah,
the other guy going to the draft that you probably said.
he's going, but he's out of eligibility. There's somebody else I said that wasn't that's not out of eligibility.
But anyways,
Who? But yeah,
Eisfelder, I haven't heard anything on him, and he's one that I'd like to see come back. I think that he stepped in and it didn't really seem like things skipped a beat too much in the two games in the SEC tournament. Now that doesn't mean that you could take that as a negative, because what I mean is you beat a team that was a midweek level team and then lost to a good SEC team. So you at least kept status quo when filling in for someone like Reese Chapman, which pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't hit the ball great. He hit the ball okay against South Carolina, and then after that, that's why they couldn't have took. It wasn't great after that. Of course, it's a good thing Reese came back anyway. So, I would assume he's back. I think he hit the ball well in the fall. Um, I would assume he's back. That's probably a guy that's competing for an outfield spot, a corner outfield spot.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Like, that's where I think, and I'd love to hear. And I just don't know, based on like what they have freshman wise and then this upcoming class.
Right.
Like, that's a corner outfielder, but like your middle of the field stuff is really what you're lacking outside of catcher.
Right.
So like he's not a center fielder. So it's like, is he a right fielder and Blaine Brown's a left fielder? Are you DHing Blaine Brown? Like, because if you DH Blaine Brown, you actually maybe have the opportunity to let Blaine Brown pitch some more. Now he's not a starter, but so I don't know. So there's a lot, but no, I would assume Nate Icefielder's back.
Yeah.
Competing for one of those spots in the outfield.
I feel like he would have entered the portal already if he wasn't going to stay.
Yeah. I would think now that I'm assuming exit meetings are done and you're talking your portal's basically 48 hours in.
Yeah.
I would assume that you're not going to see a lot more. You're not going to see much more movement from a transfer portal standpoint.
Right.
I'm curious to see. I'm actually checking because, like we said, VolQuest and On3 with VolQuest is awesome, and those guys do a great job. I'm actually seeing if they've updated anything in the last couple hours because I haven't been on there.
The name that you said that we couldn't remember was 100%. If you didn't say Arv, then that is, I would be shocked if you said someone else, because I don't know who else you could have said on this list. That's who it is,
Arv.
Yeah. He's definitely gone. And maybe he gets, again, leverage is a big deal, but
Yeah, no, he's out of here. But yeah, nobody else is in the portal right now. Because, like I said, this is kind of the place to go.
Yeah, especially for baseball.
For baseball especially. So nobody else is in the portal, and like I said, I don't necessarily think that you're going to see because we said Chandler Day was coming. Yeah, you said Chandler Day was coming back. So
yeah,
I don't think you're going to see a whole lot more guys enter the portal. I'm very curious. The next big thing to really watch out for is what guys get invited to what summer ball stuff, like who's going to go play in the Cape Cod League and things like that, because that's a big deal. I mean, I think Tegan Coons didn't do the whole year last year because he came back to Knoxville and worked on some stuff, but he pitched in the Cod a couple times, and I really think it helped him a lot. So the Cod's a big deal if you can get some guys in the Cape Cod League and playing some summer ball.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's gonna be interesting. Like you said, they haven't lost anyone that is just absolutely vital to the performance of next year. There's a couple names in there that's like, man, it would have been nice to have them and keep them and see where things go. But they obviously, the coaching staff knows what they need better than we do. But very interested to see where things go. Still waiting to hear on some guys, especially some of these juniors that didn't necessarily have the greatest of years, especially some of these pitchers like Bo Rudy, Brady Frederick. Are they transferring out? Are they staying here? Brady Frederick was supposed to be huge for you and kind of wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm okay with walking.
Same with Bo Rudy. But, it's also like if you can keep those guys at a good price point, it's hard. Age helps a lot. So, it's definitely something to keep an eye on and keep watching. I don't know what to expect, but that's kind of how the portal works. So, yeah, Logan, anything else on that you kind of want to hit before we wrap up?
Yeah, just read it. Again, Mike Wilson graded his job. You don't have VolQuest stuff, you should definitely get it because they're awesome. What if I told you, and I mean by I just have to share this because I think this blows my mind. Hang on, I gotta find it again. This
I'm
absolutely
terrified.
blows my this absolutely blows my mind. But Mike Wilson shared today. What if I told you Levi Clark had more homers and RBIs this year in SEC play than Blake Burke did as a junior in 24? Could even kick in that his slugging percentage was higher and his OPB was very close, and he drew more walks.
That's insane.
Not sophomore year Blake Burke, national champion
Yeah.
2024 in the two-hole Blake Burke. Now, the RBIs makes a little more sense because Christian Moore was absolutely raking too. And so
Right.
he was stealing some, but still, think about the year Levi had, and then think about what you think of Blake Burke that year. And Levi, number wise, he didn't have, and even Mike was, he didn't necessarily have a better year, but the numbers were better.
Which is
Like he
wild
had
to think
more.
about. Because what was one of our biggest complaints about this team all year was that they couldn't hit,
Yeah.
and that's insane.
Yeah. That's crazy. So thank you, Mike Wilson, for that nugget because I could not, you, I would have said you were a liar if you would have just told me that.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. So,
No, but no, I think that's probably the last thing I have. We can do a better portal up one when we actually get some visitors.
yeah.
And I would think by Friday, anybody who's going in will be in by Friday. I would
Yeah.
assume,
I would assume so.
unless something just randomly changes. So we'll have a better idea. But this was just a good one. Just kind of touch on the original, kind of react to the original comings and goings of transfer
Yeah.
portal guys, and
Yeah.
I imagine we'll get some visitors here soon. Besides just the guy from Stanford.
Yeah, no, and more guys will start entering the portal, I assume, as I mean, we're talking regional play just ended. So, the guys that you're probably really watching and wanting are potentially still playing. So, although maybe not, but it's, you look at teams like Troy and Little Rock where, they're playing each other for a trip to Omaha. Those rosters may have some guys that are worth poaching. And,
Sure.
so, but hey, shout out to the Troy Trojans for going into Gainesville and beating the Gators. That is phenomenal. And we love
Amen.
it. We absolutely love it. So, well, Logan, appreciate you. Appreciate all of you for listening. If you made it this far and you aren't subscribed, don't have notifications on for when new episodes drop, what are you doing? You made it this far in an episode about Tennessee baseball, which is arguably the third, you could say fourth most popular sport on campus. If you wanted to throw Lady Vols basketball or softball ahead of it, I could hear that argument. But you're still here, and we appreciate the support. And so, like, subscribe, and share this. Share this with friends. Share it with people. As Wes Rucker always used to say, share it with someone you see in Orange. You never know what friendships you can get from sharing a podcast with someone in Orange. And so, some exciting things coming up for the podcast down the road. Hopefully, we have some fun guests joining us over the summer. We are working to see what we can get done there, but appreciate you all, and we'll see you next time. All right, thanks.